Yo, what's poppin' everybody? Cerebral Fire Form. I've got a deck update for you guys today. We're going to be taking another look at the Magnezone here from Ultra Prism. Going to be looking at the Lightning Magnezone as well at a later date. But these decks, the Magnezone, the Energy Acceleration Magnezones here with Magnetic Circuit, I kind of strayed away from them for a little bit after the rotation happened in Standard. I felt like we lost quite a few cards like Letter, Sycamore, and a bunch of other cards that made this deck, these sort of decks, very inconsistent in Standard. But with Team Up, I feel like they gain quite a few things that are pretty good that can make them maybe be effective again in Standard. They won't ever be the most consistent decks ever because of the way they work, but they can at least be playable and be taken a bit seriously, nevertheless. So I'm going to be looking at the Metal Magnezone deck here, and I'm going to call it Metal Magnezone as opposed to Duskmane Acrosma GX Magnezone, because I feel like there's enough text and enough different attackers here that Duskmane Acrosma, even though he is one of our primary attackers, he might not even be the main attacker in many situations. As you guys can see, I have a new face here, the new addition. This Eevee and Snorlax GX managed to get one of these, and I'm going to be putting it in many different decks. It's actually very, very splashable, as I mentioned. As long as you have Energy Acceleration in your deck, you can make a great use of this card. Thanks to Dump Truck Press against Evolution Pokemon, this attack does 240 on that Pokemon. So Zoroark GXs, Lycanroc GXs, whatever the fuck, any basically Evolution GX Pokemon can easily be taken care of with 4 energies. You don't even need an add-on like Choice Band. Of course, Duskmane Acrosma usually can take care of those Pokemon too. Doing 220 with Meteor Tempest is usually enough. But with this guy, we have more ways to basically get one-shots on the Stage 2 GX Pokemon as well. For example, like Metagross, a bunch of other Pokemon, the Dark Incineroar, if it becomes a thing. We can just slap a Choice Band and do 270 damage with Dump Truck Press. You take care of those Pokemon too. Cheer Up isn't very useful, and Megalon Friends, I'd rather not use it, but if I have to, then it's a good attack as well. Maybe we attach a 5th energy and draw until we have 10. But for the most part, this is a deck update to Magnezone. You want to get this Magnezone out, attach metal energies to Pokemon, and get one-hit knockouts here. So the main attackers that are going to do that are going to be Duskmane and Cosmo GX, Snorlax GX, of course, very, very good. Also gives us a little bit of variety. This is a Pokemon that's weak to fighting as opposed to weak to fire like the other metal Pokemon. And I've got my usual text here. Dialga GX is still in here. This guy can win you the game. A difficult Pokemon to use, but he wins you the game with Timeless GX. You would rather use this GX attack if you have to use a GX attack in the game with this deck. You want to go with this one at the right time. Timeless GX, you do 150 and then you get to play again. You can do a lot of nasty combos with this sort of interaction. Other good things about this Pokemon, Overclock, you can draw cards early. Of course, we have other superiors for Pokemon here, but it's still very good to do Overclock sometimes. And Shred, I like this attack, is weak, but it's one of those attacks that don't care about any effects, so we can hit Hoobas, we can hit, I don't know, like Alolan Ninetales with the Safeguard ability. It's not called Safeguard, but the ones that block GXs, what have you. These sort of barrier Pokemon. You don't care about those kinds of effects. And any effects, really. So a nice little Pokemon here, Dialga GX. You can use the metal one too if you like. I like to use the Dragon one for a little bit of variety as always. And it is searchable with Mystery Treasure as well. So we have another target for Mystery Treasure. I do want one Mystery Treasure here. Search as the Dialga, or this is basically reserved for Lele most of the time. But we have another target with this, with the Dragon Dialga. Okay, so for other new faces, I've got my Jirachi here. As opposed to running 2 Tapu Leles, I dropped 1 and added the Jirachi here. This Pokemon is very, very good with Stellar Wish. You open with it, you use its ability, and you add a trainer from the top 5 cards you reveal. Very, very useful, especially in this setup decks where you want to get your stage 2 out and you can't really do much without it. And grabs you. I mean, we don't have letter in standard, but there's all sorts of item cards you can always grab, like nest balls, or stadium, energy retrievals, really key cards for the deck to work. And of course, this Pokemon helped you a lot. It is a metal Pokemon, and I guess we could attack with it in this deck, but you never want to do Slapper 30. But I just thought I'd mention that, you know, this is a metal Pokemon, and this is one of the decks where you do run metal energies to attack with it, I guess. You never know. Alright, for the Magnezone, actually, I didn't talk about this, is still the same as always, 3 of these guys. You gotta run your stage 1. I don't like this Magneton very much. Zap Cannon is a decent attack, I guess, in emergencies. But I wish we had another one with 1 retreat or something. This is the only one available, pretty much. So we gotta run it, one of these stage 1. And 4 Magnemites, of course, our basic Pokemon for Magnezone. I'm running the one with Solid Unit here. Even though we don't have Mime anymore in Standard, this Pokemon at least can be protected on the bench. So against Tapu Kokos and other nasty Pokemon that spread, we have a lot of them right now. You don't have to worry too much about them. At least Magnemite doesn't. Okay, and then the last Pokemon is the Solgaleo here. Very good Prism Metal Pokemon, 160 HP, Corona Impact, always a good attack, and we can even use Radiant Star and power up our Pokemon that way. You know, it's a Metal Prism Pokemon. I feel like you gotta run it. There's Heatran too. There's a bunch of other Pokemon you can run, but you know, Heatran basically got replaced with Eevee and Snorlax GX right here. Really, really good. Okay, other cards that really help out this deck a lot, new cards, is this Judge Whistle, not Jump Whistle. You can tell me, oh, there was Acrobike in the format. Yeah, there's Acrobike in the format, but that forces you to discard a card too, and a lot of the times in this deck, basically every card in here is in here for a reason, and you don't want to really discard many of those cards, and Acrobike kind of conflicted with that. Judge Whistle, though, is just a straight up draw 1 card. Of course, I would have rather have Trainer's Mail, but we don't, so we're going to use Judge Whistle instead, and VS Seeker. All those expanded options normally are better, more flexible, but since we don't have them, you know, Judge Whistle is a good alternative. Just draw a card, help us with the consistency. It fuels, of course, the Garbodor and the Alolan Muck deck, which I think they're probably going to be something eventually. When people finally figure out how to run the deck, they're going to be a very deadly combo. But, you know, it is what it is. We got to get our consistency going. So Judge Whistle, 2 of these cards. I've already talked about the Mystery Treasure. We only have 2 targets, but they're very important. You want to get the Lele. If you don't, we have other ways to get rid of this card if we don't need it. But just 1 for 2 targets is okay. 2 Nest Ball, get me those basic Pokemon. Search out those Magnemites. I've got my usual text with the double Field Blower here. I've got my 1 Switch, and we have, I think I should have like, 1 Escape Board for Jirachi, and quite a few other targets. We only have, well, basically it's Jirachi, and Lele can utilize this. Maybe Magnemite too, if we have like a lone Magnemite sitting there. But this is mostly for Jirachi. Get out of the way once you use Stellar Wish if your opponent didn't knock it out. Everybody else, you just soften up the retreat. They can't get free retreat. Even Magnezone, they've got to, unfortunately. Oh well. I've got my 1-off stretcher, usual tech as well. You recycle any Pokemon. You probably don't want to maybe use this guy 2 times in a game if he dies, but maybe depending on the game state, it might be the most optimal thing to recycle. It honestly depends. But remember, like, this guy can get 1-shots on stage 1 GXs too, for the most part. So keep that in mind. Alright, what else do we have here? We've got the 2 Ultra Balls. Unfortunately, we don't have Heavy Ball, and even if we did, or I think do we have Heavy Ball? I don't know. I don't remember, but I know that Heavy Ball can't be used with this Magnezone because it has 2 retreat. So one of the sort of downsides in a way, even though having a slightly better retreat cost is good, it was nice when you could use Heavy Ball and grab the Magnezones. I remember the Lightning one from Breakthrough at the very least. Okay, so 2 of these, it's also a way to get Lele and get as a supporter, transform it to a supporter, but these are usually your ways to get the Magnezone out. Search it that way. Speaking of which, we have another new way I'm going to talk about pretty soon. But you gotta have your 4 candy, standard stuff. What else is in here? basically that's it. Got one choice band for the last sort of tech. This is mainly used just for this guy, so maybe we can get like a knockout on a stage 2 GX instantly if we have to. You probably don't want to use Sun Eclipse, maybe sometimes you will, but that's one of the ways. You do have options, that's what I'm trying to say. It's all about options. And Snorlax can use it too. Anybody can use it, honestly, even this guy. If you can get a knockout with Timeless GX and then attack as well, it's perfect. So if your opponent has like a GX Pokemon with 180 HP, there's not a lot of them these days, but there are a few, like Blazefulon, I guess this guy, Lele, I don't know, Tapu Bulu, Tapu Koko. We do have a few of them. If you can get a knockout with Timeless GX and then attack again, like switch and then bring this guy and get another knockout, then it's just perfect. Yeah, but even Dialga can utilize it, is what I'm trying to say. This guy can use it too, do 190 and get knockouts on Lapras, Buzzwole. You know, you guys know the Pokemon. So yeah, one choice band. Why not? I do have the space for it, I guess. And that's basically it for the standard stuff. Now for the supporters, or for the non-supporter cards, I guess. So all that stuff is the supporters now. And you still run the 4 Cynthia. Gotta run her. Then gotta run my 2 Lily as well. This card is still very good. You want to use this turn 1 if you can. Draw until you have 8. Very good. The closest thing to like a Sycamore that we have right now. Then I've got the 1 Tantaliza. This card is still pretty good. Shuffle and draw 5. It's not quite Cynthia, but it's okay draw. And the switch and flexibility, it's actually quite handy. It came up at least for me many times when I needed it, and it saved me or basically won me the game. So having the option to switch is pretty good. So good flexible card. Running one is not so bad. Then we have the new chicks, or yeah, is all of them new chicks. Erica. Now maybe you want to run more of these and drop cards like Titaniza if you want to, but I run one. It's kind of like Chorus. If you have a lot of these early and your opponent doesn't have a bench, it's not really that good. But one Erica's Hospitality, it's another new card that really helps decks. If your opponent fills his bench and we can draw like straight 6, even draw straight 5, it really helps out a deck like this that needs quite a few things to set up. It needs a lot of cards in hand. I already talked about the Fisherman, I think, but we got to run one of these. You can search this with Tapu Lele too. We don't have the secrets to recycle him, but it's a supporter mass energy recovery, like a superior energy retrieval. Then I've got Lady here. So I decided to run one of these in this deck. Thanks to Jirachi, this card isn't so bad. It's one of our ways, I guess, we can grab a bunch of energies instantly in the hand and start powering up our Pokemon. It's also searchable with Lele, so that's pretty good. It's a handy little combo, kind of like the Fisherman. So even though it's a supporter, it's not as flexible as Professor's Letter. It's still pretty good. There will be situations where you're actually gonna be glad you have this, or you wanna search this. Okay, and then for the other new chick here, Jasmine. So this is one of these cards that really help out this metal deck and metal decks in general. Now, the effect is you search for a metal Pokemon and you put it into your hand. So what I did is I basically took out one of the Volkners. Normally I run like 2 Volkners, 2 Scala. Basically 2 supporters that can get me an instant item, so you can search the candies reliably sometimes. But thanks to Jirachi, I feel like we can search items and stuff reliably that way now. So just dropped 1 Volkner and added the Jasmine here, which is basically a supporter that searches 1 card once again, in this case a metal Pokemon. So it's a good way to get the Magnezone too. Now, on the flip side though, this card has a Sagantary effect that makes it very worth it to run just for that. You won't always be able to get it off, but when you can, it's very strong, and it actually happened to me quite a few times. So I know it's a good card for that. And that is if you play second and it's your first turn. So you got to be playing second and it's got to be your first turn. So basically your opponent plays first and then it's your move, your first move. So kind of like a reverse Lily in a way. then we're actually really, it's more flexible. But anyways, if you go second and it's your first turn, search 5 fucking metal Pokemon. It doesn't have to be basics, it can be anything. So a lot of the times what can you do is you can grab your Magnemites. If you don't have any, you get like 2 and you're set up with those. Get like a Magnezone, just to have that in hand if you see the candy, like with Jirachi or whatever. Or maybe you even have the candy in hand. You search maybe a Magneton, why not get that guy too? And then search your other metal attackers. You can even search Jirachi. You gotta remember, it's a metal Pokemon, so you can search it. So if you don't have any other good stuff going, maybe you can like retreat, put Jirachi in the active position, and then add even more cards. It's pretty good. There's a lot of great stuff you can do with a card that lets you get basically 5 Pokemon. Any Pokemon, man. It's quite strong. So I'm running one of these just for that. Like once again, if everything else fails, then it becomes like kind of like it becomes basically like a Elm or Cilio's network for your Magnezone. You're gonna use it to search your Magnezone. You can search any metal Pokemon, but might as well use it to search Magnezone. All right, and basically that's the deck, guys. I think I talked about Mount Coronet. You gotta run these. Is energy recovery, of course. The energy retrievals, yeah, forgot about those two. 3 of these. My energy recovery engine is 3 energy retrievals, 2 Mount Coronets, and the Fisherman too. And I think that's enough. This deck is very lucky that it has its Stadium be its energy recovery attack, meaning that if this card stays, you can grab even more energies and get even more plus. Now, a lot of people like to max out this card or just run maybe 3 as opposed to 2. The reason why I don't like to do that is because sometimes you want to use this and you want to use an energy retrieval. So you want to use 2 energy recovery attacks in a turn. Let's say grab 4 energies. If you got a bunch of these, you can't use them at once. It becomes kind of dead. You got to remember is the stadium. So 2, I never play my stadiums, and I never play this card just to play it. I'll wait until I need to use it so I at least get a plus. Get the plus once, I should say. And this is how you play with this card. At least that's how I do it. Energy retrieval is still very important. Fisherman is still very important. You gotta have your other methods. Just relying on this, I don't think is very good. Okay, and that's basically the Magnezone deck, guys. The Metal Magnezone deck update. I'm going to be showing you some games with it too. It's an opportunity to see what Eevee and Snorlax GX can do. There's quite a few decks I'm going to put this guy in. I've already put him in the Venusaur GX deck with Shiny Legends Venusaur as well. It's just perfect. It's just great. It does what Onyx does, but it just does it on every Stage 1 GX Pokemon. Get a one-shot on them. So you've got that. Metagross GX can run this guy too. You can run him in Lightning Magnezone as well. Fucking Blaziken. I mean, you can even try it in those Water Quagsire Nanakadel deck. Nakanadel deck. Yeah, that's how you say it. Any deck with energy acceleration, and you can take advantage of this guy. And he's great. He's great. I think people don't really understand how good this Pokemon is. Getting one shots on GXs for no reason, basically. Alright, so that's basically a deck. Gonna show you guys gonna show you guys matches, not decks. So I'll see you guys on the first match then. Hope you guys like this video. Hope you guys subscribe. Share this with your friends. My channel is an excellent hub for all things TCG. So I hope you guys subscribe. Like I've said, Saberwolf94. Thank you guys for watching as always, and what's up?